go from the Pac-12 to the conference that's closer to home here.
Okay, the conference of non-champions, the Mountain West.
Mountain West, this is going to be a very, very different year. Not because they're losing teams. Everybody's holding their breath to see if anybody else is going to arrive. I think there are a couple people here that have to have bounce-back seasons. Let's start with Boise State. They're not what they were just a couple of years ago. They're obviously not what they were when Dan Hawkins first elevated the Broncos to real stardom. But Boise State has gone through a bit of a dip and now has rebuilt. They bring back a vibrant 6'6" quarterback in Talon Green that they had to play last year because of injuries. They bring back third-year starter George Holani, tough guy running back. They bring back a ton of studs on defense. They were just picked to be the team to win, to beat in the Mountain West Conference. So Boise State looks like it has bounced back, and Talon Green is a really talented young player. San Diego State. Brady Hoke has built his reputation as a college coach on building defensive lines and offensive lines. I sure hope he has some of those cards in his pocket because he really needs those segments of that roster to grow back and be what they used to be at SDSU if they're going to be good. Jalen Maiden, I'm confident that he, linked with the new coordinator, Ryan Lindley, they're going to make a bunch of dynamic things happen. You know, they scuffled and struggled early against Ohio last weekend. Then they got it kicked in gear. And what we saw from the second half on, that looks like the potential of what the Lindley playbook and Jalen Maiden making the passes is going to look like. I think San Diego State is going to grow through this. And by the way, they get Boise State here. Nice. What a huge game that's going to be. Nobody can identify and nobody can talk with Air Force except Troy Calhoun. What a rebuild job he has done there. That is such a different culture in Colorado Springs. He's looking for a new quarterback because Hasik Daniels has left after 2 very good years of running the wishbone and the option. They got a load of running backs. He's got 8 starters back on defense. Air Force just makes it hard for you to play your game because you have to defend their game. And their game, the option, is really tough. Unique in Fresno. Life after Jake Haener, the quarterback. Life after their 1,100-yard running back, Jordan Mims. Both have gone to the NFL. Going to be intrigued to see what they put on the field. However, when Haener was hurt last year for about a third of the season, Jeff Tedford, the coach, put this young pup in there, Logan Fife, and he got progressively better and better as making plays down the field. He's back as now the legitimate starter at Fresno State. Speaking of jobs well done, nobody knows this guy. You think about what San Jose State used to be, I mean, really downtrodden. Brent Brennan has done a phenomenal job, and he's kind of done it through the transfer portal. San Jose State plays really hard, as witnessed by how hard they hung in there and slugged with USC and what they did last season. He's got a 4th-year starting quarterback, a transfer from Hawaii, Chev Cordero, who throws it, moves the pocket, runs it. Guy kind of does everything. You got a really good running back in Kyrie Robinson. So San Jose may not be, from a talent standpoint, equal to Boise, may not have, quote, the athletes that San Diego State has, but what Brent Brennan has done last 2 years, pretty impressive. I keep waiting to see if things are going to flip in Fort Collins. Colorado State's Jay Norville is a guy who has built programs. It took him a year or two. Last year was his first year at CSU. They weren't very good. He did the same thing at Nevada. They weren't real good real early, and all of a sudden they got quarterbacks that throw the football. Can Colorado State take the step forward? He's got the son of former NFL quarterback, former Washington Husky, Hugh Millen. His son is there, Clay Millen. He played a lot last season. He took a beating. They didn't have a really great season, but he put up some pretty good numbers. They got to fix the offensive line, though, in front of him at Colorado State. I don't know what to make of UNLV. You know, they've gone through coach after coach after coach, and they hired from all different places, and they tried the transfer portal. They tried to with high school kids. Nothing seemed to work. New coach. This guy brings credentials. Barry Odom, former head coach Missouri, former head coach Arkansas. So we'll see if he, because of his track record, reputation, and the transfer portal, he can bring a volume of kids in to play at Vegas and have some success at Vegas. But to me, Las Vegas is such a weird town to have a college football program in. And I don't know what the linkage is, town gown. I don't know. But he does have Doug Brumfield back as the quarterback. He played really well first half of the season, then got hurt, came back at the end of the season and did some things. So Barry Odom's he's got quite a reputation. So we'll see what happens there. Utah State, Nevada, New Mexico, Hawaii, talent deficiency problems virtually everywhere. Wyoming's got a really good coach in Craig Bowl. They don't get the superstar athlete, but they do two things. They run the damn ball, and they play really hard defense. And they play at Laramie, 7,000 feet. I've done games in Laramie. Laramie's tough in September, October. Laramie's tougher November when it's snowing and really cold. It gets cold there faster than any place on the earth, I know. Wyoming will probably upset some people along the way, but they like the U-Tags at Logan, Utah, and the Wolfpack and Nevada, Reno, and what's going on in Albuquerque and the Rainbow Warriors. Just they don't have manpower to the kind of numbers you need. So that's a look at the Mountain West Conference. Bounce back season, Boise State, I think they will. Can San Diego State bounce back? Your response?
This is going to be an interesting year. I mean, obviously, I'm a San Diego guy, so I'm rooting for the Aztecs. In fact, I'm going to the game on Saturday, my first time at Snapdragon. But, it's interesting what Brady Hoke's doing here because, like you said, you're not sure about these lines, these offensive and defensive lines, and if they're going to be able to keep it together. Jalen Maiden, he shows you something. He kind of pulls a rabbit out of his hat every once in a while. So they're going to be a fun team to follow. Air Force is a team I wanted to explore with you more deeply because it's interesting to me, the Air Force, they have a unique football offense with the wishbone, and they have that unique offense with their basketball team too. And I've often wondered if they've created that strategy as a way to overcome the fact that they can't recruit really big guys because they can't fit into fighter jets. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's a piece of the equation. And obviously football at the academies, whether that is in Colorado Springs, at West Point, or at Annapolis, they all run some offshoot of the veer or the wishbone or the option because they can't stand in the trenches and slug. And when you have only a week or 4 days to prepare for what they're doing, it's really hard. And then if you have to go play at Colorado Springs, thin air and all that, and you're on the field the whole afternoon because you can't get off the field because you can't stop what they're running, that's a bad combination to be the other guy, the opponent coming in. Troy Calhoun's done a really good job. John, they are very unique people. I don't know if you've ever been to a game at Martin Stadium.
No.
It is such a cool place. The academies, the salute. Brady Hoke and Rocky Long started something. After the Aztecs games at Air Force, all the Air Force players go to the corner of the stadium and they salute all the cadets.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State's players go to the end of the stadium with them and they sing the alma mater. I mean, it's really, really a classy thing. So yeah, as long as Troy Calhoun can keep his quarterback on the field and not get him hurt, but they have like 8 different running backs. Every time you look up, there's somebody else running off the wishbone, and they just put up staggering run numbers. And if occasionally, like with Daniels last year, they get a quarterback that can also throw it down the field, holy cow, then they're really, really dangerous. So it's just a fascinating place to visit. And I love walking around that post. I think that's what they call it, to see them. So Mountain West. Okay, college football fans, before we get to halftime, college football fans, if you're a Pac-12 fan, is this going to be a different feel for you? You agree with what's happened to everybody in the Pac-12, or are you really steamed at what USC or UCLA did, or did Oregon and Washington cause the death of this conference? Jump on Fans Forum on chat and send us a question, make a statement, we'll respond to it. And if you're a Mountain West fan, I guess I should ask this question because my goodness, have we gotten responses on Instagram. Why don't fans in this community put its arms around San Diego State's program, considering that Rocky Long and Brady Hoke between them have a combined record of like 161 and 63. I
Really?
mean, it's absolutely phenomenal what those guys have done
Nice.
over the better part of a decade. So, hey, you like college football? You're a Pac-10, Pac-12 fan, Mountain West fan? Join us on Fans Forum. We'll answer your questions right at the end. Okay.